You believe you judge people fairly. You believe you give everyone an equal chance. But right now, your brain is running a silent filter. And it has already decided who is safe, who is suspicious, and who deserves your trust. Before you said a single word to them. Picture two strangers walking toward you. One feels instantly familiar, comfortable, safe. The other feels slightly off. You can't explain it, you just feel it. Neither has spoken yet, neither has done anything wrong. But the decision is already made. Buried under what you call instinct, under what you call reading people, under what you tell yourself is experience. That feeling isn't intuition. It's a cognitive shortcut your brain built without your permission. And in the next few minutes, you'll see exactly how deep this goes, and how much of your life it has already shaped. Your brain has a tribe setting, and it never turns off. Psychologists call it in-group bias, the automatic tendency to favor people who resemble you. And before you tell yourself this is about race, stop. It goes far beyond that. Facial structure, accent, posture, the way someone moves, the clothes they wear, the way they hold eye contact. Any perceived similarity, any at all, triggers it. And it happens fast. Trust decisions are made in 100 milliseconds. That's not a figure of speech. That is the measured gap between seeing a face and your brain assigning it a category. Long before your conscious mind arrives, the verdict is in. The part of your brain responsible is called the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. It tags faces, safe, threat, unknown. And faces that resemble yours, faces that feel familiar, activate your brain's reward circuitry. The same system triggered by food, by warmth, by comfort. You're not trusting people. You're rewarding familiarity. And calling it judgment. But it goes further than you think. Because it's not just about who you trust. Trust is never passive. Trust decides who gets the opportunity, who gets the benefit of the doubt, who gets believed when something goes wrong. Researchers sent identical resumes to hundreds of companies, same qualifications, same experience, same everything. The only difference, the name at the top. Names that felt familiar to the interviewer received significantly more callbacks. Not because anyone chose to discriminate, because a brain ran a filter in milliseconds and called it a gut feeling. It happens in courtrooms. Jurors rate defendants who resemble them as more credible, even when the evidence is identical. It happens in hospitals. Patients receive more thorough examinations from doctors who share their background. This bias doesn't just affect your friendships. It shapes careers, it changes verdicts, it determines diagnoses, it decides life outcomes every single day. And the most dangerous part, the people running these systems believe they are being fair. Now I need to stop here. Because what I've told you so far, that's what most psychology videos cover. But there is a layer underneath this that almost no one talks about. It's the reason this bias doesn't weaken as you get smarter, as you get more educated, as you become more aware. It's the reason in some cases it actually gets stronger. And once you see it, you'll understand why you cannot think your way out of this. Stay with me. Here is what no one wants to admit. Intelligence doesn't dissolve this bias. It makes it worse. Smarter people are better at rationalizing their preferences after the fact, not at eliminating them. The bias fires first, the explanation comes second, and a smarter brain builds a more convincing explanation. You didn't choose this person because they look like you. You chose them because they seem more competent, more reliable, more aligned with your values. Your brain didn't just prefer a familiar face. It built an entire story to justify the preference, and you believe the story. This is called homophily, the psychological principle that similarity breeds connection. And it doesn't stop at individual choices. You subconsciously seek out similar people, build your network from them, create environments where they thrive and where people who don't fit quietly disappear. The echo chamber isn't just algorithmic. It's neurological. There's also something called mirror neuron activation. When you see someone who resembles you, your brain simulates their experience more vividly. You feel their pain more accurately. You invest in their outcome more deeply. And everyone else, even without meaning to, becomes slightly less real to you. Not invisible, not hated. Just less. And that less, compounded across millions of decisions, is everything. Here is the part that should unsettle you most. The people who score highest on implicit bias tests are often the ones who most strongly believe they have no bias. Read that again. There is a psychological mechanism called moral licensing. When you see yourself as open-minded, as fair, as aware, as progressive, you feel less need to examine your actual behavior. Your self-image as a good person becomes the exact thing that protects the bias from being challenged. You already did the work, you already know about bias, you already consider yourself conscious. So the filter keeps running, unchecked, protected by your own certainty. There is also something called the cross-race effect. Humans are measurably less accurate at distinguishing faces from groups different from their own, less accurate at reading emotions, less accurate at remembering details. This isn't prejudice in the traditional sense. It's processing. The brain allocates less depth, less resolution to unfamiliar faces. It's been doing this since before you were born. But the result is identical. Less empathy, less accuracy, less trust. For anyone who doesn't look like you. And it shapes something you have never thought to question. Who you believe when two people tell you different stories. Zoom out for a moment. Every institution that shapes your life, legal, medical, financial, educational, is run by human beings with this exact wiring. When the people in power share the same faces, the same background, the same features, the bias doesn't just persist. It compounds. It compounds in hiring decisions and promotion cycles, in loan approvals and sentencing guidelines, in whose pain gets taken seriously and whose gets questioned. No meeting was called, no policy was written, no one decided this. Millions of brains running the same ancient program simultaneously. Not from hatred, from familiarity. The most powerful bias in human history has never needed hatred to survive. It only needed familiarity. So here's what you're left with. A bias you didn't choose, a system you didn't design, and a brain that rewards you chemically every single time you stay inside it. You can know all of this. You can understand every mechanism, every study, every name for what it's doing. And still, the next time you meet a stranger who looks like you, something in your chest will relax. Something will say safe. That will happen, it will happen to you, it will happen to everyone watching this. The question is not whether it happens. The question is what you do in the moment after.